Welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and I am exhausted, quite simply. Yeah, I wish I had more energy to give you guys, but all of that is currently still somewhere in the Javits Center. So I just made it back from all 4 days of New York Comic Con 2022. And yes, trust me, I actually am excited to talk about it, but I am just physically and everything else just energy is down low. I can't wait to go back to bed, honestly. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the show this year and also show you my epic NYCC 2022 haul. One of my favorite things about going to NYCC is the shopping, and I love picking up things. I love digging through toys and digging through dollar bins to find awesome comics I don't have, and all sorts of other stuff too that we're going to talk about here today. But we're going to come back to that in another minute or so, because first I just want to give you guys my overview, my general thoughts about Comic-Con New York this year. And for the most part, I have to tell you guys, I was there last year. I covered it last year, in fact, for the site that I work for full time. And last year was interesting because it was the first year that the New York Comic Con event returned since COVID began. And here we are now a year later. And, I gotta tell you guys, for me, I hate to start off this video kind of negative, but for me, it probably was the worst New York Comic Con I've been to. And I'm not saying this year to sound any extra special or anything like that, but I've been attending NYCC since the very first one. I was still in college when that very first one happened, so I've seen pretty much all incarnations, including last year's COVID Con. And this year to me, it just felt like it was a step backwards for whatever reason. It was weird because yes, they increased capacity. In previous years, typically it had been over 225,000 people attending all 4 days. Last year in 2021, they reduced the capacity down to, I believe it was just under 150,000 for all 4 days. And this year they bumped it up a little bit more. I don't know the exact tally of how many folks were there, but they did increase it just a little bit, and you could definitely feel it. And another notable thing was that major companies had returned, or at least some major companies had returned, because last year Funko was not in attendance, Marvel was not in attendance, really none of the major publishers were in attendance. That's including IDW, I'm pretty sure was not there, DC Comics was not there, Image was not there, even local vendor Midtown Comics, who you typically have like multiple booths scattered around the floor, and they're a pretty big deal in New York. They were not there last year, but this year Midtown Comics also came back. So we did have a resurgence of a few of the bigger booths, but overall, something for me just didn't connect to this past year. I don't quite know what it was. I mean, yeah, we had some major people there again. They had Oscar Isaac this year. They had some interesting panels, but none of them were really like super interesting to me, and there were some good ones. I mean, Adult Swim and Cartoon Network had some great panels. There was a wonderful Muppets panel. The Star Trek panel, which I attended, was also quite amazing, and shout out, by the way, to Julian from Strange New Pod. I got to meet him for the very first time. Now, regulars in this channel will know about my Trek Untold podcast. Julian is one of the hosts of Strange New Pod. I've been on the show now once. I'm going to be actually on again a little bit later this month, talking about Lower Decks. But I've never met him in person, because that's how the world of podcasting is. But it turns out he ended up actually going to Comic-Con on the exact same day as the Star Trek panel, and lo and behold, somehow he managed to sit directly in front of me. So yeah, shout out to him. It's really cool when that kind of stuff happens. But for the most part, panels there were some good ones, but nothing really crazy. We had the Oscar Isaac panel, which was a big deal, and he was kind of like the big star, I feel like, this year that they brought in. We had Doom Patrol with Brendan Fraser, and we also had the Weird Al panel, which had Daniel Radcliffe, which had Rachel Evan Green, and also Weird Al joining by Zoom. And while those panels were good, they just weren't really amazing. And I have to actually tell you, in fact, I'm going to complain about anything right now. I'll even mention the Weird Al panel. It just was basically slotted to be an hour long. It went about 30 minutes, ended abruptly, and everybody was just like, what? And that's kind of how this con just felt. It felt like we were all scratching our heads, waiting for something really epic to happen, and nothing did. So for the most part, the panels were fine, but it was nothing I felt like I really needed to be there to see. I mean, yeah, we even had the Super Mario Bros. Trailer debut, but it was on Nintendo's, Nintendo Treehouse, whatever they did, immediately after, possibly even simulcast. So it's like you didn't really even need to be in there for it. The entire event just kind of felt like it was a lot more chill in some ways, even though it was also much more anxiety-inducing and stressful than it was last year. A lot of folks skipped out on last year because they were concerned about COVID. This year, wasn't quite the same story. This year we had a lot more people, and although Comic-Con was mandating that everybody had to wear masks, maybe 20% of people ultimately were by the final day. I mean, in the beginning, they actually were handing out masks. There was a few people handing out things to do safety stuff, but ultimately it just became a suggestion, which was kind of funny. And that's almost a whole other video, some of the logistical issues that they had, because there was plenty of those also. In terms of cosplay, it kind of felt even like there wasn't anything super cool. I mean, I saw a few really awesome cosplayers. In fact, there was this great Batman one that I really enjoyed. But a lot of it just kind of felt the same. How many Mandalorians can I see? Nothing really jumped out to me like, wow, I need to see this, I need to take this photo. And that's no offense to a lot of the wonderful cosplayers out there, because there were a lot of really excellent ones out there. But again, this year it just kind of felt like nothing was like wow, and that might just be because at this current moment in pop culture, there's not really anything that's like super epically needed to cosplay. That was like the cosplay of the con, if you will. I expected to see a lot more Robert Pattinson Batmans, and I saw a handful. I still saw a ton of Mandos, like I mentioned, but for the most part, there wasn't like that one con cosplay that you see every year that everybody's walking around in. Vendors also were kind of interesting this year because, as I mentioned, Marvel was there, Funko was back, they're doing their own thing. A lot of other companies who had been previously still have not returned. And also on top of that too, just as far as the showroom floor felt, something was very different. And I don't quite know how to put words for it, but I can tell you, in terms of like rummaging through bins of comics and rummaging through bins of toys, there was not a lot of that this year. One of the nice things though was that aisles were a lot wider, so you could walk in theory easier, but crowds were still pretty unmanageable at times. We're going to talk about autographs in a few minutes, but the autograph section was just an absolute zoo. I feel so bad because I know one person who actually waited 6 hours for one single autograph, and that person's slot was in fact at 11 a.m. and they didn't get that autograph till after 4. And speaking of the autograph section, neighboring that was Artist Alley. That used to be one of my favorite sections of Comic-Con, but each year it has become harder and harder to walk through it. The space is too small, you can't get anywhere in that, it smells, it's horrible. It sucks because there's like so many really great people down there and so many artists I'd love to buy things from and meet and get autographs from, but it's just been a little unmanageable. It was a little stressful this year, and for the most part, yeah, like I said, it wasn't my favorite Comic-Con. I hope next year they can improve on it. There's a lot of things they can work to fix on logistically, but really I feel like that's a bigger rant for the time. Right now, with that out of the way, I want to focus on the stuff that I did buy. Because even though while the Comic-Con experience itself wasn't my favorite, it wasn't the most amazing thing out there, I did pick up some really cool stuff. And I want to start things off first with autographs that I got, because I am apparently now an autograph hound. Don't know how that happened, but it's become a thing for me. And since we're at Comic-Con, why don't we start with a comic? And unfortunately, I didn't pick up as many as I would have liked, but I did get this right here. This is a signed copy of 8 Billion Genies. This is a really fun read, by the way. It's from Image. If you guys haven't been checking this out, I really like this book a lot. And this here is dual signed by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. So what the story is of 8 Billion Genies is that one day on Earth, randomly out of nowhere, 8 billion genies pop up, one for every single human being on planet Earth. And the story essentially follows what happens over time as these wishes start being granted. And the way it's been kind of broken up is it's like, here's the first 8 minutes of what happened when these genies showed up. Here's the next 80 minutes. Here's the first 8 days. Here's the first 8 weeks. Here's the first 8 months, so on and so forth. And this is in fact an 8-issue miniseries. How convenient. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I got to meet the artist and the writer. Highly recommend it. 8 Billion Genies from Image. Definitely check it out, and that's my first sign thing we're going to talk about right here. Moving forward, I also got to meet R.L. Stine, and that was a completely random thing. I was walking the showroom floor, I think it was the first day in fact, and there's all sorts of signings happening on the floor too, and I just happened to walk by one of the book publishing booths, and there was absolutely like no line for R.L. Stine. If you don't know who R.L. Stine is, he's the author of the Goosebumps series, Fear Street, and so many other things, and he's also now involved in Garbage Pail Kids, which I've just learned he was actually a part of back when that first came out also. So yeah, I got to meet R.L. Stine, and it's kind of fun because I actually met him when I was a little itty bitty kid. And here's, by the way, what I had him sign. It's a giant Garbage Pail Kid trading card, essentially, of R.L. Stine, or in this case, R.L. Slime. And yeah, I got to meet him way back when I was, I think, in 3rd grade, where I went to a book signing at this little tiny store in Long Island and had a huge line. That was probably the first time I ever waited in a long line, in fact, for anything. And at the time, I'd also written a book, because at my school, they let us basically write books one day. They gave us some hardcover books, and they told us to write our story or whatever in it, and I did that. I wrote a weird little horror story, and at this book signing, I basically got him to sign a copy of one of my books, and then in turn, I gave him my hardcover book. And apparently it was on like the local news or something also. Yeah, when I met RL at this event, I mentioned that to him, that I basically had met him almost like 20, 30 years ago, I guess it'd be closer to 30 years ago, whatever it was. And he was like, oh, that's very cool. Well, I look forward to meeting you again in another 30 years. So yeah, RL, by the way, is like super quick-witted, hilarious dude, and this is awesome. Like, I love his signature on this. This card is just amazing. Really nice print. So yeah, that's my R.L. Stine autograph, and that's my R.L. Stine story 30 years later. New York Comic Con brings in a lot of celebrities, but personally, I prefer to meet pro wrestlers. That's always been my thing. On this channel, I actually have a video talking about my signed pro wrestling action figure collection. That's from at least like 2+ years ago, so I really should update it at some point, because I've gotten a lot more since then. But one of the ones I got here at Comic Con this year was a gentleman who I've met before. but I'll never not meet him again, and that's Mick Foley. And here is my signed GameStop exclusive Funko Pop from Mick Foley. Mick is like one of the fan favorites at conventions. If you get a chance to meet him at a con, highly recommend it. He is super personable. He really takes the time out to like chat with you. And plus he has a great signature. Like, I love his signature. This is so nicely done. His handwriting is really good. You know, like if we're gonna grade signatures, which yes, we will be throughout this year, you know, he's one of the pro wrestlers who has, I think, one of the best signatures out there. He'll put a lot of effort into it. He'll inscribe things if you want in it also. And yeah, this is my GameStop exclusive pop, which by the way, I got on clearance from GameStop. And I was talking to like some of the folks in line who had this exact thing, and they bought it when it first came out, and it was like 30 bucks. And yeah, I got it for less than 10, so go me. But yeah, awesome Mick Foley pop. Very excited to add this to my collection. A very cool moment that I had this year alongside Andrea, who's also a regular here in this channel, was we got to meet Xavier Woods and Big E. That's right, Big E was in the house. You know, we haven't seen him on WWE TV since his injury, unfortunately. But this is, I feel like, is like probably one of his first public appearances since that happened. And I'm happy to say he's looking really good, really strong. And Xavier, of course, he is crazy as always. He was awesome. And also joining him for the signing was Tyler Breeze. So anyway, yeah, speaking of autographs, talk about all that in a second, but speaking of autographs, here we got the Target exclusive Up, Up, Down, Down Xavier Woods Funko Pop signed. And over here, I got myself an Elite, I think this is Elite 95. I should probably check the packaging and confirm that. Yeah, okay. Elite 95 Big E action figure. And the cool thing about the signing too is that it was totally free. Now, if you don't know, Comic-Cons, you do have to pay for autographs. You have to pay for everything. You know, you gotta pay to walk in, you gotta pay to do anything, essentially. So yeah, the cool thing about these guys is that all three of them, including Tyler, were doing free autographs. Last year, I think Tyler actually brought with him some 8x10s to sign. I don't think he had it this year, and I felt bad I didn't have anything for him to sign. I couldn't bring anything with me, and to be honest, his action figures have gone up a lot of money since he left the company, but it looks like now he is back, so that's cool. Hopefully we'll get some new Tyler Breeze figures down the line, but yeah, I got myself an Xavier, I got myself a Big E. And since I did mention all three of these gentlemen here, another video I have on this YouTube channel is me asking pro wrestlers what their favorite action figure of themselves is. And well, I asked Big E, Tyler, and Xavier, so let's take a look at their answer. Xavier Woods.
Yeah, aka Austin Creed, aka 1/3 of the New Day, aka host of the greatest YouTube channel of all time, Up, Up, Down, Down, aka host of G4. What up, baby?
What is your favorite action figure of yourself?
Ooh, favorite action figure of myself? Ah, that's hard. No, it's not. The Stevie Wonder one with the interchangeable head and the interchangeable hands and the trombone.
Yes.
What? And the Up, Up, Down, Down title. What? You're kidding me. Get out of here. How did we do this?
That's a great one. Yeah, that's the best one. And you got a bunch of figures also. What is your favorite?
I have a million. Actually, my favorite is the one that's still to come, where I have the left, right title, because I was the longest reigning Up, Up, Down, Down / left, right champion. That's gonna be my favorite.
Yeah. Mr. E, what is your? You have a lot of great ones too. What is your fave?
Actually the American flag one, I think, is the one that for some reason they stopped making the entrance jackets. The only reason I even started wearing entrance jackets was for the figures, and that one actually had the entrance jacket. This one, just no entrance jacket. I mean, it's a great figure, but where's the jacket?
You replaced it with the title.
Why can't it have the jacket and the title?
Can't have both. Don't be greedy.
One of my favorite animated series is Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I've had the chance now to meet Janet Varney, who is the voice of Korra in The Legend of Korra, and Dante Bosco, who was the voice of Zuko. And I got both their autographs last year, and now I can officially add to that list of folks Jessie Flowers, aka the voice of Toph. She was super cool, really enjoyed meeting her. You know, again, another highlight of the show. And she has a pretty cool signature too, but I do have one regret about the signature. And I love, by the way, the green color that she chose. That was her marker. It was nice for her to write Twinkle Toes on it, and I asked her for Twinkle Toes. I totally forgot that my goal was actually to get her to write Mazel Tov on this. So now I have to go basically buy another one of these pops and hopefully meet her again in the next year or two so I can get that done. But as far as this one goes, yeah, I'm very happy with this. I love how it's going to look next to my Avatar ones. I think you might be able to see them down here. So yeah, she'll be joining them very, very soon. And wrapping up the autograph experience for me at NYCC 2022, well, I got myself the Dragon Balls. That's a horrible segue, but yeah, no. So I got to meet Sean Schemmel, who is the voice of Goku, and Christopher Sabat, who is the voice of Vegeta. So I wanted to actually get these guys last year at Anime NYC. That, by the way, was the Omicron spreading event, and no, I did not get COVID there. I got it a month later at my office holiday party. Thanks, full-time job. But yeah, as you can imagine, these guys have both had enormous lines, especially Chris Sabat. His line was just never ending. Didn't matter what day you went, his line was huge, but he was worth it. I can definitely recommend him. And their signatures are really nice too. Like Sean, he's got a pretty good handwriting there. It's a little bit messy, and by the way, if you're wondering, he apparently does not do any inscriptions, so don't even ask him for that. But Chris Sabat was like super nice. Again, really one of those guys that goes out of the way to talk to you and make you feel like you're the only person in the room, despite the fact that there's like another 1,000 people behind you waiting for his autograph. But yeah, he does this. He even threw on this inscription for free, which was really, really awesome of him to do. Inscriptions were extra money from him, and I'd say they're worth it though. I mean, this is just what he kind of threw on for fun, which it just says, Kakarot, which is perfect. I love that he did that, but if you want anything special, he will charge you for it. But hey, that's worth it, totally worth it. Highly recommend meeting Chris Sabat. So you might notice how there's a kind of a piece of a box here peeking out on screen here. That's because we're about to move on to some of the bigger items that I picked up, and then we're gonna start with the Diamond Select booth. And I got a bunch of exclusives, which you can see kind of peeking out over here, in fact, right now. I'm gonna come back to those in a minute, because I wanna start piling up some of the bigger items here. Now let's start with this. This is not an exclusive item, but it is from Diamond. This is the Lost in Space Electronic B9. This is really cool. Like, I just love this design. I'm not necessarily the biggest Lost in Space fan. In fact, I wouldn't say I'm one at all. I've only recently actually watched a few episodes for research for certain things, but it's a lot of fun, I have to admit. I actually kind of like it a lot. And yeah, I just love this robot design though. I mean, this thing is just really cool looking. It has a little Trami button, so we're gonna actually try it right now and see what it does.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. So it has lights and sounds. Let's see, it has some movement also. It looks like the arms extend and collapse, claws open and close. So this thing is just really cool looking. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this taken out. I'm gonna definitely add this to one of my displays somewhere in my house here. But yeah, this is the Electronic B9, very cool. There was, I think, an Alt Deco version of it as well. That might have been a con exclusive, but forever was, I just like this as it is. Like, it's such a classic, cool, retro alien design. So yeah, fun piece right here. And joining that very large piece, this is another non-exclusive, at least what's in my hand, but what's over here is not. But this I also picked up at Comic-Con. This is the Diamond Select G.I. Joe PVC figure diorama of Snake Eyes. Now we're gonna have a much more detailed look at this very, very soon, because I'm gonna review this thing, of course. I looked at Destro quite some time ago. It's been a while since we looked at the G.I. Joe PVC line, but it has been going out kind of slowly. But yeah, we love the Destro. Finally got Snake Eyes, along with Timber, by the way. You can see Timber hanging out in there. So this is the regular release, and I want to show you guys also over here, to do a little swaparoo. This over here is the Previews exclusive version of Snake Eyes and Timber. And the difference here is you can see that the base is different, the colors are different, the wolf is painted differently. Snake Eyes is more of a blue color here. There's no snow in this base, it's got some grass and stuff in it. So, there is a difference, and it's a pretty drastic difference, even though it is just a paint deco change. But yeah, it's something I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Personally, I prefer the snowy version here with the black costume of Snake Eyes, but they're both really, really cool. And I cannot wait to get them out of the box and show them in much more detail to you guys. And wrapping up our PVC figure dioramas, I have another statue that has eluded me for quite some time. I finally have it. This right here is the antique version of Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. This, I believe, was actually a San Diego exclusive earlier this year, and I just didn't get it. I was able to get it for myself, but they had a bunch of them at Comic-Con and Diamond Select booth, so now I have it. And I also have the original Aang as well, so I have both versions of Aang. But this one's so much cooler. I mean, that one's great too, but like, don't get me wrong, but everything about this one is just so classy and chic. And I love that it's, this is like a $50 price point, I believe, for this type of statue. And it just looks so great. Like, it looks like a bronze. Like, there's like this wonderful jade look. Again, I'm gonna go into a lot more detail about this in the very near future when I do a review about a bunch of these statues here, but yeah, just letting you guys know there's some cool stuff on the horizon and a lot more Avatar on the way. But let's talk Mini-Mates now, because Mini-Mates is one of my favorite things that Diamond does. I've been collecting them since like one of the earliest waves, honestly. And yeah, so this one here, again, not an exclusive and definitely not one of the newer ones, but it's been out for a while. I think this came out also around San Diego time. This is their Fantastic Four box set. And we'll probably be doing a very close and detailed review of this as well at some point. So we have the entire Fantastic Four, we have Doctor Doom, and we have Herbie. So yeah, this is just a perfect set. Like, it's pretty much all you need with these characters here. And there's also that little Silver Surfer hanging out down there. Like, I love the detail on the sculpting of the thing, just all the great expressions here. It's a really wonderful set. So yeah, again, we'll talk about this another day, but this is the Fantastic Four Mini-Mates set. Very cool. So now we're gonna move on to the con exclusive Mini-Mates here, and we're starting things off with this right here. This is the box set of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in their movie costumes. So this is all 6 of the Rangers, including Tommy as the White Ranger, and we have everybody here. And what's really cool about this is it's kind of meant to look like a VHS tape, or in this case actually a DVD. I should correct myself here. This one's one of the DVDs you can see right here. I kept seeing photos of this during the convention, and I didn't realize there wasn't a CD packed in it, but Yeah, there you go. And what is different is that they're all in their movie colors, and they're also metallic outfits. So that part is cool. Like, I love anything that's metallic. They all look very nice and shiny. It's a really good looking set. Yeah, it's a fun piece here. I do want to review this, but like, it's honestly really cool in this kind of packaging. So it might just be living in here for a little bit until I figure out what to do with it. And then we're going to go into retro mini-mates also, because we have now the set of G.I. Joe and Transformers mini-mates. Now, we have looked at the Transformers ones before. In fact, we've looked at Series 1 and Series 2. And the nice thing about this box right here is that it actually contains a little bit of both. So what you're getting in this set is Optimus, you're getting Bumblebee, you're getting Megatron, and you're getting Starscream. But what is really cool about it is that it actually is packaged like a VHS. And you can see right here, like, it looks like a VHS tape. I mean, that is so fun. And when you flip it around, you'll see all the characters here. So what we do have is new decos for these characters. So we have new paint jobs, and the paint job is in the style of the animated series. So the mini-mates you've been getting if you bought Wave 1 and 2, they were metallic. This time around, it's a matte finish, and it's meant to look kind of like, you know, that style of animation, that great shading, a very iconic look for Transformers. So that's what you're getting here. So if you were on the fence about these and maybe you didn't like the metallics, like, this for me is perfect. So yeah, really fun thing to have, and again, just loving the way this is packaged here, just like it's a VHS tape. You know, I don't even want this. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm just gonna leave it like this for the thumbnail, and anybody who sees it can be very confused. Hopefully they'll click on it. And then we have the G.I. Joe VHS tape. Again, a really cool one here. This is the Ninja Force style. So this one has Snake Eyes, Dr. Biggles Jones, Scarlet, and Storm Shadow. And again, VHS style. It's so cool. And this actually, I didn't even notice this before. It actually has a little DST video and a Be Kind Rewind sticker on it. That is really cute and clever. And it's actually my first time seeing this one, and wow, okay. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, because Ninja Force was that kind of like weird period of the G.I. Joe figures when they were starting to lose some steam, but no, this is really good. Like, I'm really liking this. You know, yes, I do want them in their classic style, and that is something that we're gonna be getting this year, but as far as an exclusive goes, it's really good. This is really nice. Actually, I like all the different accessories in there. This is a cool use of this. All right, that's awesome. So that's our stuff from Diamond. Let's talk about some other fun things I found on the showroom floor. As I already mentioned earlier, I am a Star Trek fan, and it just so happens here that I believe this is Simon & Schuster. They got a new William Shatner autobiography coming out, and it was on display and on sale at Comic-Con, and here it is. This is Boldly Go by William Shatner with Joshua Brandon. So this is his newest memoirs. It's, let's see, a little over 200 pages, and I'm not gonna read this all to you right now, but it's out there. It's available, in fact, on Amazon, any other stores you want to get it from. Sadly, we will not be having William Shatner on Trek Untold. I can only dream, but that won't be happening. But here is his new book, just to make everybody aware of it. So yeah, pick that up also. Now this one here, we're gonna do a semi-unboxing of, I guess. So, you know, I've talked about Super 7 a lot in some videos on this channel, and I feel like I have kind of a love-hate relationship with what they do and how they make their items. But I caved at Comic-Con this weekend. I caved. And I caved because I'm now the proud owner of the NYCC exclusive Muckman and Joe Eyeball figure. You know, I'm a sucker for anything glow-in-the-dark, and what Super 7 does at their conventions is, well, they do glow-in-the-dark versions of a lot of their toys. You know, they had a lot of gimmick toys there this year. They had the Beaming Up Picard, which was really fun. They had a bunch of glow-in-the-dark Turtles and Monsters and Mars Attacks figures, but you know, I am a Turtles fan, and I do have the NECA Muckman and Joe Eyeball, and although I haven't reviewed them on this channel, because I just been buying them for myself, to be honestly, I've been buying a lot of those NECA Turtles. I have not been buying the Super 7 ones. But that might start to change, because, yeah, I had to get this, and, yeah, again, we're going to just do a little sort of semi-unboxing here, because I want to show you guys what it looks like and why I picked this thing up here. Super 7, they really package their figures quite dramatically. So it is going to be a little bit of process. I'm just going to have to tear this off. I don't care. But it is worth the effort. So, okay, yeah, I want to show you guys why I wanted this. You know, I was worried I was going to have regrets when I actually opened it, but no, I did not have any regrets. Look at this beauty. This is Muckman Joe Eyeball in the NYCC exclusive colors, glow in the dark. This is perfect. This is just exactly what I wanted. So I don't see myself buying the Turtles again from Super 7, because I already have them done by NECA. I have the Playmates versions. Don't really want them from Super 7, but I will be buying more of the secondary characters, I think, especially like this Muckman, because this is just a thing of beauty, which might be bizarre to say when we're talking about Muckman and Joe Eyeball, but wow, this is gorgeous. So you might see a review of this here soon. We'll see, but for now, this is for me, and I'm loving this version of Muckman. Oh, this is like a gateway here. This is bad. We better move on. So what you're seeing to the left and right of me essentially represents all the new modern stuff that I bought this year. But I also did some rummaging, as I sort of alluded to at the start of this video here. Now we're going to take a look at some of the retro goodies that I found, and I think I found some really nice ones this year. Again, as far as toy vendors went, it was kind of stinky. To be perfectly blunt, a lot of them are not that great. The majority of them, if they weren't Funko Pop dealers, which really, again, the majority of them were, if there were toy vendors there, it was pretty much just whatever was new in terms of Marvel Legends, in terms of Transformers in some cases, in terms of NECA stuff. You know, Star Wars, lots of Star Wars Black, lots of Star Wars Vintage, but it was only really stuff that came out in like the last 6 months. And worst of all, no good deals. I mean, I couldn't believe some of the markups on these things too. You know, COVID has really changed the toy collecting market in a very negative way. And it felt so obnoxious this year seeing like a NECA 2-pack that I've bought at Target for $50 that's still available in Target for $50, seeing it for $100. That's kind of gross, and that's really what it felt like this year. Just no good deals. Like, you basically would pay the exact same prices elsewhere. You could maybe haggle, but for the most part, a lot of guys weren't budging on their prices, with the exceptions of retro toys, which might end up being the focus point of my collection these days. But let me show you guys some of the really cool retro stuff I got here. This right here, this is hilarious and amazing. This is Will Smith's character from the original Independence Day movie. This is the Trendmasters action figure of his character from it. It's really, really yellow, as you can see, but I got a great deal on it, and chances are he will eventually be liberated, if you will, from this plastic here. But what's so cool about it is he comes with a floppy disk. There's a floppy disk right up there with all sorts of fun games and stuff. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to play it. I'm sure I'll find a way, but yeah, this is such a weird toy tie-in. I had to get it because I actually have the other 3 characters in this line. You know, I also have, you know, let's see here, according to this is Captain Steve Hiller. I also have David Levinson. I have Thomas J. Whitmore, so I got all 3 of the humans. I remember the Alien toys also from this line being so cool as a kid. Never had them, but really thought they were excellent toys. So yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy buying all these, but I wanted to at least complete the human set. And that said, I'm gonna probably be on the lookout for that jet. So you can see there's over here an F-18, I think it's an F-18 fighter jet or something. And I'm just looking at the size of this Will Smith figure here. And I'm just thinking, you know, that jet has to fit this toy. That's gonna be an enormous jet, and it's not gonna be quite in 6-inch scale, but it's not far off it. So that might become a video for another day too, the hunt for this jet. But you know, as far as likenesses go, oddly enough, it looks more like Michael B. Jordan than it does Will Smith, which kind of weird, but cool. Yeah, the toys are not good. The toys are really not that good at all. They're very much a sign of the times. They're very much a 90s thing, but the floppy disk is awesome. So I just had to complete the set. There it is. My Star Trek collection is continuing to grow, as it does every time I go to a convention. Really, it was a New York Comic Con many years ago that got me back into the Star Trek fandom because of buying the toys. And so yeah, I couldn't leave the convention without buying something, and this, I can't believe I haven't had this in my collection before, and it's taken me this many years to get it. But I finally have the Star Trek Personal Communicator. And what's cool about this is it was just in, again, one of those like random rummaging bins. I think I paid less than what the original sticker here was for it, which is $7.99 from Toys R Us, by the way. Sealed in package. I don't think it works anymore. Yeah, no, it definitely does not work. I'm sure the batteries are completely corroded and dying in there, but yeah, as far as a display piece just in this packaging, this is great. Like, I just love how good condition this is. I love that it's got this wonderful picture of Patrick Stewart on it. This is just such a fun piece of memorabilia. So happy I found this. And the last of the on-card items here is this beauty. This is Bucky O'Hare, mint on card. And what a clean card this is. I got this for, I feel like, again, a very good deal. I won't talk about numbers here, not that important, but you know, that the part doesn't really matter to me that much, honestly. I just, you know, I love the Bucky O'Hare line. It's one of my favorite toy lines as a kid. Fun cartoon to go back and watch today as well. Just one of my favorite toys growing up. Very much nostalgic here. And to have them again mint on card, it's so great. I love this packaging here. You know, just, man, this is just such a great hit in nostalgia. It's a great hit in the feels. Wonderful toy. I'm so excited to have this one here. Yeah, I just can't stop looking at it. I'm so excited to have them again. Like, this is a really cool piece. Again, I'm so exhausted. I wish I could be more like, oh my God, and giving you the hashtag YouTube reacts that you so desire from me. But no, trust me, this is like a real important piece for me. I'm very happy to have this one joining everything else that you're seeing right now in front of you. And last, but certainly not least, we got a pair of Lucy's now joining the stuff here. So I'll take better photos. You'll see them in a second here. But I got myself a Peter Parker from one of the Spider-Man movies. I don't quite remember which one it is, but pretty sure it might be the first one. And it's basically Tobey Maguire. It's just, really, that's all this is. It's just a Tobey Maguire figure. I'm pretty sure that it's not entirely in great condition. I mean, he comes with a backpack here. It looks like it's broken. I think what the feature was is he has this backpack that you can fill with water, and he shoots out of his hand here. Again, I doubt that works. And the figure, quite honestly, it's a little loose, it's a little wonky, but You know, I don't leave these figures behind anymore. If I see a Tobey Maguire movie era Spidey figures, I will buy them. And this one, it's really just such a cool, wacky figure. I also really like that it has its camera still too. So very, very happy about that purchase. But this one here, you know, this is another really, really great one. I'm just gonna take them out for you guys right now. I don't even remember what line this is from, but we're looking at a Toy Biz Marvel figure. This is not Marvel Legends era yet. This is still, you know, when Toy Biz is just doing their fun thing. Putting out random stuff. This is definitely towards the end of the line, but I finally have him here. This is Man-Thing. I'm a Swamp Thing fan, I'm a Man-Thing fan, I just like grassy monsters apparently. So yeah, I got this Man-Thing here. It is complete. This is such a cool figure. I've always wanted this Man-Thing, never found it before. I've never really even seen it in the wild, and it just happened to be in this bin, so I had to scoop that up. One last thing too I want to talk about here as we take one final look at all this cool stuff I got. You know, there are a lot of freebies, a lot of swag being handed out at Comic-Con. I'm not gonna really spend all my time talking about it, but this year there actually were some good stuff. There was a lot of stickers, a lot of bookmarks, a lot of pins. It was great to see all this free merch come back, because honestly, even pre-COVID, that was kind of starting to really, really become very scant. But now it feels like companies are trying a lot harder now to bring more freebies again. And for me, the highlight of the freebies was this right here. Yeah, you Star Trek fans know what this is. I got him. This is Murph from Star Trek Prodigy, and this is a plushie that was handed out on Saturday, well before the Star Trek panel. I was told they had 1,500 of these total to give out, and they ran out pretty fast. So yeah, this is Murph from Star Trek Prodigy. It's a very soft, cute little plushie. Shout out to Andrea and Molly for getting him for me. But yeah, I love my little Murph here. And heads up, I was told there is the possibility that they are going to be actually selling these. So if you missed it at New York Comic Con, don't go crazy. Try not to buy it from scalpers. Wait a little bit, because there is a pretty strong chance you're going to be seeing this again. So yeah, that is essentially my swag, if you will, all the stuff that I picked up at New York Comic Con 2022 this year. It's a lot of stuff here. I mean, you know, I said that earlier this might not have been my favorite Comic Con in terms of just overall event, but I got some good stuff, and I am pretty happy about that. And while, you know, I don't go to Comic Con just to buy things, it is kind of one of the fun things I like doing there. Really, for me, it's about meeting people, seeing folks again that I normally don't see other than like once a year. And that happened a lot too, and that was pretty special for me. So, yeah, I'm hoping next year I'm gonna have an even better experience than this year, and to be quite honestly, really the only way I can go from here is up. But, you know, yeah, if you haven't been near Comic Con and you're in the area, you know, check it out. It has become more expensive, but it is, you know, a kind of a cool experience. And honestly, you know, if you only do it once, just do it once and move on, because there's plenty of other smaller cons you can go to that I'm sure you'll be able to find a lot of other interesting stuff like these things here. But hey, overall, Comic-Con gave me a lot of cool stuff. I had a lot of good memories from it, and I cannot wait for it to happen again next year. So until then, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today, and we'll see you guys, well, pretty soon, because we got to review all this stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. See you guys later.